This project we are going to be focusing on learning the Flexbox, so the CSS Flexbox, and without wasting time, let's get started. So we are going to be building 3 projects that will help us to understand what we are going to learn about Flexbox, and then after the learning, then we can move into building these 3 projects. So we are going to be building this, and also we are going to be building this project as well using Flexbox. And then the third project that we are going to be building is going to be this. So there are pictures. Okay, so this is a third project that we are going to build using Flexbox, and I have this project completed here. This is a completed project, and also because our focus is not just to build with Flexbox, but our also focus is to make sure that we build with responsive web design in mind. So it's very important that when we are building, we also put into consideration the various screens, okay, that our project is going to be viewed on. So this project is so mobile. This is how it looks on the mobile. Then also we can check using the iPad. So this is how it looks on the iPad, and then back to the desktop view. So this is what we have on the desktop view. As you can see, I have it perfectly centered in the middle. So these are the 3 projects that we are going to be building using Flexbox. So without wasting time, we are going to take a look at understanding what Flexbox is, and then after that, then we can now move into building this project out. So I'm going to let us know. So we are working on the layout structure in CSS. So that's what we are working on. And to understand the layout structure, there are two major things to understand when it comes to understanding the layout structure in CSS. And the first one is understanding the Flexbox. So I made mention of 2 things that are very important when it comes to the layout structure in CSS: the Flexbox and the grid. Okay, so once there's a good understanding of Flexbox and grid, then you are good to go with building any user interfaces that you're given, whether on Figma or when you have them, or when you have any pictures like this. Okay, so a knowledge of Flexbox can help us build this from scratch. Okay, so without wasting time, let's get right into the project. So I'm going to go back to my screen, and I'm going to create a folder here. I'm going to call it, let's call it learn Flexbox. Right. So I have the folder created here, and I'm going to do so from our VS Code here, open a new window, and I'm going to open the folder here. So the folder is on my desktop, so I'm going to look for it. Learn Flexbox. So this is the folder opened. So I'm going to expand my screen so that we can see properly. I'm going to expand it very well. So as you can see, the folder is empty. There's nothing we have inside the folder. So the first thing is to create an index.html. So that's the first thing that we are going to do, is to create an index.html. So this is going to be our guide. We're going to bring this here to be our guide. So we are going to learn the Flexbox here. Alright, so I'm going to let's create something like this, and so let's call it, put it the title here, Flexbox. And so to the extension, so I'm using the Visual Studio Code, and then you can go to the extension site. You can type live server here. So it's going to bring out live server. So this is already installed. You need to have this installed. So what this helps to do is, let's say for instance we do h1, so I can do hello world, have something like this, then I can left click and then open with live server. So this helps to, auto reload on the browser. So here we go. And then if I make any changes on my web page, let's say nation, let's do nation like this, then I have it automatically refresh for me. So using that extension is very useful. Alright, so without wasting time, so our focus is to talk about the Flexbox. Okay, so two things are very important when it comes to Flexbox, and we need to pay attention to these two things. Like I said, our major focus today is going to be on the Flexbox. So for the Flexbox, so I'm going to talk about the display. Okay, so two things are key. Okay, so we have inline elements, and then block we have the block elements. Okay, so for instance, let's say h1 is inline elements. Hello world, this is inline elements. I'm going to, so we can see that. How do we know it's an inline element? Because they take the full width. So for instance, let's write our styling here. Let's do a little style here. So let's say h1. So I'm going to give it a border 3 pixel solid red. Okay, so I'm making it to target the h1 here. So I want to believe that we understand what I've done here. Okay, so when we go and check, so let me do it this way. What do we see? It takes the full width. So that is a block level element. Alright, so I'm going to do another one. Let's say we have like a span here. Let's say hello, I am an inline element. So we're going to do something like a span here. So we have border 3 pixels solid green. So this is better. So by the time we check, what do we see? So we understand that h1 is a block level element, and then span is a what? Is an inline element, because another inline element can be here in front of the span, in front of this letter. So let's say we have another element, for instance, let's have input, something like this. Okay, so by the time we check, we expect to see it in front of our span. So what do we see? We are having input in front of our span. Okay, so this is very important because this is HTML. So by the time we come to CSS, so CSS, with the display properties, we can change a block element to be an inline element, and an inline element to become a block level element. So I use a diagram to kind of explain what I mean. So there's a display property in CSS that enables us to change. So what it means is that with the display property, I can change an inline element to be a block element, and I can change a block element to be an inline element. So this is very important. Okay, so that is a bit of explanation I want to explain for inline and block element. But today our focus is going to be on the flex box. Alright, so I'm just going to take these guys out like this, and then we're going to take these guys out as well. So I'm going to do div like this, and then we are going to have 3 divs. So I'm going to do those 3. Alright, so let's have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so what we have here is we have a div, and then nested inside the div we have 3 divs, right? So we have 1, 2, 3. Alright, so by the time we check, we see that they are, what do we call this now? We call it they are block level element, because div is saying that we can see them, these 2 could as well stay in front, these 3 could as well stay in front. Okay, so by the time we check, So I'm going to give it a class. Let's give it a class of container, and then I'm going to come and do container class div. So I'm targeting the children. I'm going to do border 2 pixels solid red. Alright, so can we see now? So we can see that this is a block level element. Alright, so I'm going to the class here, let's take this out, and we are going to do as a dot container. So just container, we're going to have something like this. Alright, so I'm going to set the display. So the display here now, we've talked about the block level element. So for instance now, so let's leave this now. Let's leave this here. We can as well come here and set this display to be inline element, inline block. So what do we see? We can see it. They come together on a straight line. So we have it. So this shows is working. Okay, so what it means is that each of the nested div now, I've been setting it to inline, and that is why we have this. Okay, alright. So I'm going to take this out, and then on the parent now, that means on the container, right? This is the wrapper now. The parent for these divs, I'm going to use the word display property, and set it to flex. So once we do that, then this is what we have. Okay, so what flex does is that when you set the container, the wrapper div now, it could be the parent element. Once you automatically make it flex, then it does not matter whether it is inline or block element, everything comes in this shape. Okay, so everything becomes inline. Flex automatically makes, irrespective of the irrespective of whether the element is block or inline, it automatically brings them together like this, like inline elements. Okay, so that is that. So for the children, I'm going to set this to be right. So let's do width is 100, then let's do height to be 100 pixels as well. So this is what we have. Going to set. So let's have a border solid brown. Alright, so this is what we have. Okay, so this is flex. Alright, so two things I want us to take note here. So we have the wrapper div. This is a class thing. It can be anything. You can make it, you can call it a wrapper, you can call it whatever name you want to call it. Okay, and then also the second thing I've done is to target the children. Okay, so I said container and then making reference to the div. So these are the children here. So this is the parents div, and then this is the what? Is children. Okay, so we have the parents div and then the children. Okay, so what I'm doing is to target the children, and then on the parents is on the parents that you set the flex. So the display is going to be on the parents, not on the children, and that is what we have done here. Alright, so this is what we have, and I want us to see some of the flex properties that we have. So we are going to see. So these are the different flex properties that we have. I'm going to do this way. So let's say I have a class of item 1. So I'm going to copy this. Item 2. Alright, so I'm just going to do item 1. Let's do a background color of orange. So item 2, let's this one to be yellow, item 3, let's take it to be brown. So I'm going to take this and then let's collapse it so that we have a little bit of spacing here as well. Alright, so this is what we have here. So this is what we have. So we have, 3 boxes now. Okay, so these are the 3 boxes that we have here, and then we are going to look at the flex properties that we have. Alright, so the first one is to justify. We can justify the content. So presently, when you set something to flex, it automatically makes it automatically makes the children, when you have a parent, a wrapper div, whatever, you can have a nested, you could set, you could have a nested, you can have a flex that is nested inside flex. We are going to see that when we start working on the project. But what we have here is that we have a parent, and on the parent we set a display to flex. So the children becomes flex item now. It becomes children. Alright, so this is exactly what we have. Alright, so the flex is on the children. Alright, and that is the result. So the first one is to justify the content, and what we are going to do is, so I'm going to do something here. So let me set the height here. Let's have the height for this parent. Let's set this to be 500, and let's make it okay. I want the equal height, so let's have a border, something like this, solid red. Right, so this is what we have for, okay, so let me make it 90. Alright, so this is what we have. Okay, so this is the parent. The parents have given it height, and then I've given it a border. What we have is a border radius. Alright, for the parents. So what I'm going to do is to look at some of the properties that you can, some of the properties of the flex. Alright, so yeah, that is it. So the first one is we can justify the content. So we can do something like justify content to be so by default we have flex start. So let's get into the diagram. Okay, so we have the flex container properties. So the first one we are looking at is to look at the flex. We are looking at justify content. So under the justify content we have about 6 properties. We have the flex start, flex end, center, space evenly, space around, space between. Okay, so those are 3 things that we can do. So by default, what we have by default is what? Flex start. That is what we have by default. Okay, so we see that nothing changes, and then we can go on to say center, right? So don't forget that we are saying justify content is a flex property. After you've declared to be flex the display, then you can now use justify content to be center, and then you have your flex item at the center, and then we can as well come here and do flex end, and then we have it at the end as well. Okay, so this is very, very important. When we are working on our project, we see how we can design our navbar using this flex property, using justify content and all of that. So then we can also have space between, can have space around. So this is what we have. This is space around. I'm going to reduce this. Let's make it 1. And then we can have space between like this. Okay, this is space between. So we can see that the spaces exist between, not around. Okay, unlike when we use the space around, there's a space before on the left, and there's a space on the right as well. And then we can have space evenly like this. So we can have equal spaces like this as well. So these are various values that our flex our justify content can take. So we can decide to set whatever values that we want. All right, so that is that about justify content. And so the next thing we are going to look at is the flex direction. All right, so we are going to look at flex direction. And so for the flex direction, so for the flex direction, we can set, so like I said, let's take it back to have, so I can take this for now. So this is what we have. So for the flex direction, we can choose to change the direction. So this is a bit of horizontal, then we can choose to have this vertically. Okay, so we can choose to have the elements stack. So stacking is more like having the elements on the block level. So we can have flex direction to be column, right? So we can have column. So as you can see, we are seeing 1, 2, 3. All right, so now we've changed the direction of the flex. All right, and then we can now set it back to row, right? We don't need to do this because flex automatically sets the direction in row. All right, so there's no need for us to do this when we already have it, when we already have the display set as flex. So we can have something like column reverse. These are different values. Can we see now? So this is column reverse now, starting from 3, 2, 1, and then we can have something like this, row reverse as well. So by the time we see, we are seeing 3, 2, 1. All right, and then that is that about flex direction. Okay, two things that we've looked at here. We've looked at justify content, flex direction, and then the next thing we are going to look at is flex wrap. All right, so we're going to be looking at flex wrap, and so let's go and see what flex wrap is. So I'm going to take this out. So we are going to increase what we have here. So I'm going to do, let's have it. So let's say this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is what we have here, right? So let's go back to here. So all right, what am I going to do with this? Okay, so let's come to this guy here. I'm going to give it a border of solid orange. All right, so this is what we have here. So let's make it 1. All right, so this is what we have. So we have like 8 children, 8 flex properties or flex items. So this is what we have. So I'm going to increase the width. All right, so the width, I'm going to make it, let's make it 300. All right, let's make it 400. So this is what we have, right? So if I increase the width, let's make it 500. We can see that this is not 500. Nothing is showing here because yes, because this is not 500. All right, and by the time let's say we try to shrink it, can we see now this is not good. Okay, so we use flex wrap is useful. It's kind of, it has a responsive nature, right? So we can have something like this. So we can here, we can come here and do flex wrap. So flex wrap helps us to retain the width of the element. Okay, so of the flex item. All right, so we can retain the individual width of that flex item by using flex wrap. So we can do wrap, something like this, right? So what it means is, as we can see, you're seeing, so I'm just going to make this, let's make this to be 300, and here we go. So we can see that this is actually 300 now, right? Unlike when we didn't do anything like flex wrap. So without flex wrap, everything just skews on, they just be on the same line. You understand? So flex will make everything to just be on the same line, because flex can only be inline. Okay, so it just keeps, it doesn't matter whether you have 100 stuff. So let's say we keep increasing this. So let's say we keep, all right, so let me take the flex wrap below. So we can see that everything just keeps, shrinking. That's just the word there. Everything just keeps shrinking, but it's just shrink. So, but with flex wrap, we are able to maintain the individual size of that element. So you can do flex wrap, you can have, so this is what we are going to have when we do flex wrap. And then it's good because it helps the responsiveness of the flex item. So we can see that is good. So if I change the height to, let's say, 300, so we can see that everything looks good. So this is flex wrap in a nutshell, because when you're building a responsive uh, web web in a responsive web design, one of the things that you need to consider is the responsiveness of your design. You are not just building for the desktop. At the same time, you are building for the tablet, and you have to put in consideration the tablet and the mobile view. So when you have elements that you want a fixed size for, so that means it would be good to use flex wrap. All right, so that is that about flex wrap, and then we'll soon get into the practical session, and in the practical session we'll be able to see how to use all of this. So the next one we're going to talk about is the flex flow. So for the flex flow, how it works is flex flow is a shortcut for flex direction and flex wrap. All right, so let's say I want to use flex wrap and flex direction together. So we can do flex flow like this. So we can have flex flow like this. So we can do row, 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 wrap. All right. So we can have something like this, row wrap. All right. So let's go back to this. As we can see, nothing has changed. All right. So it's just still the same thing. So it's a shortcut for using flex direction and flex wrap together. As you can see, this is flex flow. All right, so that is that. All right, so oh, okay, I didn't put semicolon here. All right, so that is that. We can see that our elements still wraps together. Okay, and then we can do row reverse. So let's do row reverse exactly. So can we see now? We can see that the rows has been reversed. We can see. So let's do a little bit of text. Text center. Text align center, and then let's see font size should be 3 rem. Alright, so this is what we need. Alright, so we can see that using row reverse now, the row has been reversed to show us that the flex flow is a combination of flex direction and flex wrap, right? So we can see how it works. Perfect. Alright, so the next one we're going to look at is to check out these two things are very important. The align items is also very important. So I'm going to come here and then take out, let's take out this 4 for now. Okay, so let's make it 3. Let's leave it like this here, 1 to 4. So we're going to do align items. All right, so let's take this out. So how do we align items? Because in our project we are going to see how to do this. Okay, so I'm going to just so let's take this out. So for the individual, I'm going to do something here. So let's take out the height for the individual. So we don't have any height here now. So I'm going to define height for each of them. Height should be 200 pixel. Then height for this as well should be maybe 450 pixel, 400, I say 450, so it can be so this can be 300 pixel. So as we can see, you can see that so for the three, let's come back and all right. So this is what we have. All right. So we want a situation whereby we want them to be aligned. So there will be situations that you have 3 or 4 objects and then you want it to be perfectly aligned in the center, even though they have different heights. So how do you achieve that? That you have 3 items, they have different heights, and then you want them to be aligned properly. So how do you do that? So we can use this property of align items. So whatever flex properties that are defined, it has to be on the parent, okay, not on the children. So we can do align items can be center like this. All right, so this is what we are going to have, right? So I think right, so okay, so this is what we are going to have. Okay, we can see that we have the things aligned properly in the center. All right, so that is that. We can also, so most times when you're doing align center, you may want to use justify content. Okay, maybe there's no point for that for now. So I think I have justify content here. Okay. I don't think this. Okay. So but let's just take it out for now. So that is just the purpose of align items. So when we get to the project section, we are going to see how I'm able to use this to align items together properly in the center. For instance, in the project session, we are going to use align here. Okay, so we are going to use align here to make sure that what we have here is to make sure that we have this centered, as you can see, is aligned properly. Okay, so we're able to do this using the align items. Okay, so it must not be a little bit higher or lower. It has to be perfectly centered. And then also we use align items in trying to see some other places that we've used it. Right, I think that's the major place that we've used align items as well. So, but all right, so that is that about align items, that we can explore more values for align items. And then the other thing we are going to look at is align content. So I'm still going to come back to all of this. So align content. So what does it mean how do we align our content? All right, so that is what we are going to look at. And I think a very useful materials for us here is going to be to use the W3 school. W3 school has a very good W3 school. So we are going to go to the CSS section. Right, so let's go to the CSS section and check out what we have. Alright, so for us to, I believe this is good enough to give us a very good understanding of Flexbox. Okay, so this will just be an additional materials for us. Alright, so I'm going to go through quickly, go over the last but not the least on this session. So these are Flex properties, Flex container properties, which is align content. So align content also work with, so let's do, so we need to have our Flex wrap. Okay, so this is our Flex wrap. Like this, we can do wrap. Okay, so let's bring back some of the things that we have before. We need to bring back, let's bring back, okay, this one. Alright, so this is what, oh, I'm going to take, let's take this guy out. Align items, I'm going to take this out. Alright, so this is, and then let's, wow, so for the height, okay, the height is 300, then I'm going to take this out, and then take this out as well. So I want all the children to have the same height, so which is what, 300. So this is what we have. So this is flex is wrap. Okay, I'm using flex wrap on this. You can see I have flex wrap here, line 17. So I want to make this to be, let's make this to be 100. Okay, I want to make this to be, as you can see that there's a lot of spaces here which I don't want. So instead of having that space, I can do something like this. Justify content. Okay, so justify content is different from align items or justify. Okay, oh, what I want to do is align content. Okay, not justify content. Align content. That's what I want to do. So align content can be, so let's do flex start, right? So this is what we have now currently. So I'm going to make it flex start, and let's see what we have. So this is flex start. Can we see now? All right. So we are seeing the combination of flex flex wrap, right? So what flex wrap does is to help the individual items now to retain their width, right? Irrespective of the screen sizes, right? So as we are adjusting the screen, the width of the element is being retained. It does not change, right? But also, with the align content, we are able to, align things properly, and we can do something like this. We can have something like this center, okay, and then we can have something like this flex end as well. So we can have something like this end like this, which is very okay. So there'll be times that we want to achieve something like this. Occasionally, I really don't use some of those things, but it's good that we have an understanding of how these things work. All right, so and then so we can have space between as well, space between. Okay, so let's check it out. So we have space between. Can we see now? We're having space between, and then we can also have space around. We can have space around, so we can see there are spaces around now. Alright, so this seems to be like a default mode when you don't use align content. So there's a difference between align content and align items. Okay, so we need to take note of that very well. So this is what you have. But when you have align content, then you can do space evenly, and this is what we are going to have. So yeah, that is it for flex. We've been able to look at the flex properties, and I think the most important ones that I use a lot, in most of my projects, I use justify content a lot. Maybe for responsiveness, flex direction, and then align items. Alright, so can take some time to study around justify content, flex direction, and align items. Alright, and then we've looked at, so we're going to look at the flex children properties. Alright, so like I said, most times you have like a wrapper, you have a div that wraps the entire children that you want. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a div. It could be H1, it could be anything. Alright, so but in the project session we are going to understand how we can apply what we've learned to build a real life project. Alright, so that is very, very important. And so all the properties I've defined here, they are on the parent. You set it on the parent. They work on the parent, and then also these children. So this is referred to the children because they are nested inside the container. They are nested inside this div. So this is the children. Alright, so the properties that we've defined it, they are supposed to be on the parent. So you defined it on the parent, not on the children. So we are going to look at about 2 other properties that we can also use on the children as well. So I'm going to let's take this house quickly. Alright, so the children also has some properties, and there are lots more properties that we can come on this page and we can take a look at some of those properties. Alright, so yeah, so let's take this house. I'm going to take this house. I'm going to take this house. We don't need it anymore. And then I'm going to make this 300. Alright, so this is what we have. Alright, so this is what we have now. Alright, so what we want to do is to let's have this to be, we're going to make this to be brown. Alright, so there are some other properties that we can define on the children right now. So what it means is there are properties that we can define on these children, and one of these properties we can define with something called order. So we have presently now what we have is 1, 2, 3. So we can choose to say order can be, this can be 3. Okay, we are making 1 to be 3, and then let's make this one to be 1, and then this one to be 2. Alright, so what we have is 1 is going to be what? It's going to be 3. You can see this is 3 now. Alright, while 2 is going to be 1. So you can see that 2 is 1, and then 3 is what? Is 3. Alright, so there are occasions that we are building for the desktop, and like this project that you're working on, there might be times that you want to change. So this is what we have on the desktop, and then for the mobile or for the tablets, we have a new kind of design arrangement. So let's go to the tablet Pro, and this is what we have. So there might be situations that we want to change what we have. Okay, so and this is where having an understanding of how these things work is going to help us. Okay, but whatever we are doing, we just have to make sure that we are specifying these properties on the individual children. Alright, so that is 1, and then we can have another one as this. So we can have something like this. So I'm going to take out this width. Okay, we can have something like flex grow. We can make it 1. Alright, so this is what we have. Flex grow. Can we see 1? And we can make it 1 for every one of them. We can have flex grow here, can be also be 1, and then we have flex grow to also be what? 1. You can see that we have equal space, and then the full width of what is it called now? we can see that the full width, you know, of the flex items, you know, they occupy the full width of our page. You can see that it is divided equally. So let's say I want this to be twice of one of these. So instead of, I can do something like, so let's say I want one to be twice. So I can do, this can be 2. So let's see what we have. Can we see that? It's now twice of this. The same thing goes for either of this. Can make this one 2. And then this is what we have. Okay, and we can as well make this one to be 3 as well. So it's going to be what? 3. By the time you look at it, you can see 1, 2, 3. Exactly. So that is how it works. And when we come on this page, I think we'll be able to see other properties. Alright, so there are other properties for the children, okay, that is going to be useful for us as well. So come on this page, so you'll be able to see. So these are the properties. So we looked at other Flex Grow, and then there are other ones that we can take a look at ourselves. Alright, so that is that about the theory, and then we want to move into building our project right now. So what I'm going to do is to come here, and I'm just going to, okay, so I'm going to close this, and then we are going to create a new let me see, we can create a new folder. Okay, so let's create a new folder. So I'm going to call it social media. Right, so I'm going to call it social media. Let's see. Just when I open this Flexbox, download Flexbox, just a minute. Flexbox. Project. Okay, so let's have social media. So I'm going to do this. So inside here, I'm going to create an index.html, then a little bit of a shortcut here, and then so this is what we have. Then also I'm going to have my style.css here as well. Alright, so let's do social media profile, social media profile, that's the title, and then I'm going to do h1 hello social media profile page design. So we're going to use our live server to kind of open it up, and here is what we have right now. Right, so this is what we have. Right, so we have a separate file for our CSS, and then we are going to link it up. So we're going to come and do link. It's going to ask us for our CSS. As we can see, we have it here, our CSS. So how do we know? So let's come and do a little bit of this. So universal selector, margin on both sides is going to be 0, padding on both sides is going to be 0, box sizing is going to be border box. Alright, so this is very important to have this. So let's say I don't have this. And let's do body. Let's have a body to be like this. Okay. Let me try to open this folder. Download. Alright, so there's the background of orange. So yes, exactly. So our project is working now. So yeah, so the CSS is properly linked, and then we are going to move on to building our project now. So that's what we do. Alright, so uh, alright, so I'm just going to do something like this. Let's take this out. For now, let's do border 3 pixels solid, right? So we can see that there are like tiny spaces around this element which we don't want. So that's why we need to have this 3. Let's set it. So by the time we check back, can we see those spaces has been taken away now, we don't have it. So that's why we need to have this as an universal selector. Very important that whenever we are designing, we have that. So yeah, so the first thing we want to build is so let's come here. Oh yes, before I forget, I want to do something. This is this. But thank God I didn't delete this. So I'm going to do let's open this up right now. Perfectly centered something. Right, so this is what we have. I'm going to take this out, this, and then this, and then let's have this. Right, so this is what we have. So we can do a combination of these two. So we can have justify content and align content together. So we are going to use these two properties. Justify content to be what? Center, and then align items can be, so let's start with okay, so we can have, let's say by default we have flex start, and this one can have flex start. So this is what we have. Okay, so the way it works is justify moves in the x-axis, moves in the x-axis, while align items moves in the y-axis. So what do I mean? So we can do align items can be center now, and let's see what we have. Can we see now? So it's moving vertically now, all right? So we can have flex flex end. So we can see now at the end of our page, so because the end of our page is this. Let's do border 2 pixels solid red. Can we see now it's at the bottom of our page now? All right, so we can as well, I'm just going to take this out. I think I'm just going to take these two more out. So we have one now, right? So we have one. So at the same time, I can come to my justify content here to be what? To be at the center. You can see that justify content can be at the center, right? So it's at the center right now. Okay, so align items can be used to move vertically in the y-axis, while justify content can be moved, you can use to move elements, you know, in justify content in what? In x-axis horizontally. So we have it what do I have now? Align item, flex end, center. Then I can set this one to be center as well. So what do we see? You see the element is perfectly centered at the middle, and then we can have something like flex. This can be flex end, right? It comes here, and then this can also be what? Flex end as well. So we can have flex end as well, and yeah. So this is it. So we can have center, we can have center, right? Perfectly centered in the middle. So that's that. So let's get right into our project. And so this is what we have. Okay, so our social media project. And so this is what we want to design. So this is our focus for this project. So this is what we want to get. Number one, this has to be in the center, perfectly centered. And how do we achieve this? So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take this out first. So let's take this out. So I'm going to do session, right? So it's an HTML. I have another div here. So what I'm going to do is, so I have a div. Right. So I have another div, right? So I have the session, right? I have the session. So the session is going to be my parents. Here is the social. Then I have another div, right? So so I'm going to have everything I need here now. So I'm going to start with the image, right? Okay, so and then followed by this, and then followed by this. All right, so first is I have a session and I have a div, right? So and then so what I'm going to do now is to have another div image, right? So this is going to be for the image, right? So it is going to be for this image. Okay, I'm putting it in a div, right? So what am I going to do is to okay, thinking is going to bring what to suggest for me. Alright, so yes, that's what I need. Okay, so it's going to auto so I'm going to put profile image there. So I have profile image there. So let's check what we have. Alright. Oh, this is nonsense. Let me check my GitHub link for that image. Okay, so this is it. This is a completed project, social media page. So we have index. I'm just going to copy. Just going to copy this. So I'm going to paste this there. That's a completed project. And then this is what we have. Alright, so we are coming back to it. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is, so we have this image now. Okay, so I'm going to work on these two now. So I'm going to do, so what are we going to do? So I'm coming out H2. Okay, so we have Jessica, Randa, and then the next thing is going to be place London, United Kingdom. Alright, so The next one is going to be what I should do. So I'm going to use P or B. So I'm going to do front end developer, and I have it reader as well. So that's that. So we can't see anything because the image has covered everything. So let's go to our CSS and do some things in our CSS file. So for this CSS, I'm just going to target the image now. So I'm going to make the image to be alright. So if I get to the image, okay, so I need the body. Okay, so I'm going to do something with the image. I don't like the way the image is too big, so let's do mg. So let me give it a width of 80 pixel, height of 80 pixel. Alright, so can we see now? Yeah, so I'm going to give it object fit to be cover, and that's all. Then we need it to be round. We need the image to be round. Okay, the image should be round. So we need border radius 50%. Oh, the spelling is not correct. Radius should be this. Alright, so we are good. Alright, so how do we bring this to the center is what we want to work on now. Right, so number one, we need to change the color of the background. We're going to target our body. Body tag is going to be, so we have background color, let's take this 151515. Right, so you see that the background color has changed. We can change the color for the text to be white, and then I want the font family. Yes, I want something close to what we have. Font family is sans serif like this. Right, so this one, so we need to bring this to the center now. Right, so in our HTML, what we have is, so we have the session social, right? Then we have a div. So what I'm going to do for the session is going to define something here. This is going to be here. Dot social. Our social is going to be the height. On the height to be 100 pixel height. So we have nothing changes for now. And then we are going to put the display to be flex. You can see nothing is still changing. Flex to display. But you know that we wrap it in a div. Alright, nothing changed because it's inside a div, right? So it's inside a div. So we have, so this is inside a div. So if I'm to take this away now, let's take this away. We're going to see that something is going to change. All of them are going to be on a straight line. Can we see now? So this is not what we want. So we're going to take it back and then come back here and do display. So we're going to do flex direction. The column, okay, and then justify content to the center, and then align items to the center. So I'm going to check this out. Alright, so how did we get here? Alright, so I'm going to social. Let's put a border here, 4 pixels solid red. Okay, so this is what we have on the social. Alright, so because on the social, what we've done is, so exactly we have, so this is the social, right? On the social, we have the padding border here, right? So what I did was this is a div, so this is what I'm working on. So this social is what is a flex. So I've done justify content, align items, centered. So if we check our CSS, what do we have now? Justify content, center, align content, centered. So because when you have justify content and align centered, align justify content centered, align item centered, then your content is going to be at the center of the page. Don't forget that the height is 100 viewpoints, means that it takes the full width. It takes the full width. Alright, so that is why we are able to have this content at the center. Alright, so that is that. So this flex applies to this. Alright, so that is that. And then what else are we going to do? So let's add a little bit of padding. So let's have padding here to be, so 12 pixel. Alright, so I'm going to take this, cut it off, and then, so what am I going to do now is, I'm going to target this div now. Let's target this div. Okay, so we're going to do dot social, the first div like this. Alright, so we're going to have this. So we are going to have, let me put the border here so that we know. Can we see now? Alright, so we understand better now because the parent is what? This is the social. The social, this is the social, the parent. I set it to flex, and then justify content center, align item center, automatically put this at the center of the page, which is what we have here now, right? Which is what we have here. So what we are going to do is we need a bit of padding, 32 pixel. Okay, so 16 pixel is equal to 1 rem. So because I'm going to use, let's do border radius. We're going to be using rem. Border radius to be 8 pixel. There's a bit of small curves at the edge, and then we're going to have the background color to be this 1A1A13. Alright, and then we're going to have the mean width to be 24 rem, like this, minimum width, and then the box shadow. So we're going to come back to this guy here. So let's go back to the CSS portion. We're going to take the box shadow here. Alright, so that is that. So check, so this is what we have. So I'm going to take this out now, and then the next thing we're going to work on is to work on the image. Okay, so this is very important because this is our social, the class social. Then inside the class social we have a div. So that div, we are able to use the div. You know, what we did with the div is to justify content and align content, which brings it to the center, right? So now, how do we centralize this image at the center? So that means I'm going to have flex, like you have the children, you know, the parent is flex, you have the grandchildren set of flex. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So this is flex, right? So this is a parent, this is a child, this is a child here. So I'm setting this guy to flex. That is what I want to do, so that I can perfectly put this at the center of the page. That is what I want to do. Okay, in order to do that, so I'm going to come here. Let's go to our CSS. I'm going to have image, right? Image, and then we are going to have display to be flex, and then justify content. When you want to perfectly put something in the center, justify content to be centered. And then let's have some margin top. I need some space on the top of the image to be 24 pixel, and then margin bottom 24 pixel as well. Right, so when we check, so we can see that we have this perfectly in the center now, right? So the next thing we want to do is to our H2 and our P1 to be at the center, right? So this is what we are talking about here. We are saying the H2, all this should be at the center of the page as well. So what we are going to do is to come to our CSS here. So we're going to do H2, we're going to do text align center, we're going to do margin top and bottom, and then 0 left and right. Right, so this is what we have. And then as well, we're going to do for the P as well. We're going to do text align center. The color is a bit of yellow LC 159, something like this. We're going to have font weight 700, and then we're going to have the font size to be 14 pixel, and then the margin bottom to be what, 24 pixel. So this is what we have. Alright, so we check our image. So we have, so I worked on these two. Alright, Jessica, like this, you can see it's perfectly centered. Then working on the front end. So the front end is going to be hobby.hobby, have its own class. I'm going to give it the color of white, and then the font weight. The font weight is going to be 500 pixel. Right, so this is what we want. Right, so we want to work on this. So what we are going to focus on is to focus on this now. They are like a bit of a link. We're going to go back to our HTML, and then we're going to put them in a div together. So we're going to have something like this, a div. We're going to have the anchor tag. Yes, the anchor tag times 5. Wow. Okay, so let's have it on a new line, and a new line, and a new line, and a new line. So we're going to have width up, front end, mentor, LinkedIn. We have Twitter, we have Instagram. Alright, so we have, I'm going to make sure that when you click on any of them, it doesn't go to the page, it creates another tab for you, blank. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it here. Okay, alright, so we have something like this. Right, so I've created a div to put everything inside. Alright, so let's go back. So this is what we have. So what I'm going to do is to target the divs. So I'm going to target the wrapper div. Okay, so this is what we have. We need it to be spread. So let's go to the CSS and then take the anchor tag like this, do color of white, text decoration, none, have a margin between them, it's going to be 0, 12 pixel, up and down will be 0, then this is what we are going to have, followed by, so we're going to change the display to block now, see how useful it is now, so you can see block, then we need it to be at the center, text align, center, the text align is at the center, then we are going to do the background color is going to be this 3333. Now, alright, so we are going to have margin top pixel, margin bottom is going to be 12 pixel as well. Padding top is talking about padding inside now, 12 pixel, then padding bottom is 12 pixel. Alright, so we need the border radius. We need a little bit of border radius here, which is equally very important. Border radius is going to be 6. Alright, so this is what we have. Alright, so this is what we've created. So this is what we've been able to build. This is what we are given, and this is what we have. So we need to make sure that the responsiveness is there as well. You can see that it's okay. I don't like the way it is now, so I need a little bit of padding on both left and right. So what we are going to do is going to use media query. Going to go at media screen and something like this. The maximum of 480. So we're going to change the width dot social div like this. So we're going to change the mean width to be this 18 rem from what we set it to be before, which is 24. Let's make it 18. Right, so yeah, exactly. This is what I want, rather than there's some space there. Okay, this is better now. 18 rem, just and have something like this. So yeah, so that is that for the first project. We're done with the first project. It looks good. Okay, so the only thing is the picture that we're not able to get a perfect picture, but aside every other things works, so it gets you. So you can link up your social media pages, and then it opens a separate tab for you because of the tab that we use it. Alright, so that is that for the first project. We're going to move on to the second project, so I'm going to close this right now. Going to open the second project. So let's go with the second project. I'm going to create another file here. I'm going to call it so it's going to be a folder. So what I'm going to do is to I'm going to call it stats. Alright, so inside I'm going to have index.html, index.html. We're going to have styles the CSS as well. So inside our index HTML, we're gonna have this, and then stats as well. So this is what we are building. So this is what we are working on in this session. We're working on this as well, and it's going to be responsive. Alright, so let's get started. Right, so I'm just going to pick on this and then let's go. So we're going to have session area. So the first thing we should link our, okay, so link up. So my CSS is on this page, social. So we're going to have another div dot a class of stats, start like this. Right, it's going to be a wrapper div, and then we're going to have another div. We're going to explain why we need like nested div like this. So I'm going to start with this. So I'm working on this right now. Alright, so the first thing is to have another div. We're going to have div dot stats info like this. Okay, so we are going to have this info here. This is what we are going to have. So we're going to have h1, we're going to have gets exactly, right? So this is what we're going to have insights, and then we're going to have a p. So discover the benefits. So discover the benefit of data. That's what we have already. Let's take it back. And then, so the next thing we're going to have is to have, so we're going to work on this now, right? So we have this done, we have this done, and then we're going to work on this now. So we are going to be using div, we are going to be using flex for this, and that's why I need to put it in a div as well. So let me put it as a div stats figure, something like this, and then I'm going to have a div for the individual of them. So it's going to have like a div that wraps these two together. So we're going to have a div, and then we're going to have each one, we have 10k plus, and then we are going to have p for what? Complete, and then we are going to have the same thing okay. So I'm just going to 3, 1, 4, and then we're going to have templates. I'm just focusing on these parts, and then the next thing is going to be another div. Each one is going to be plus 12 million plus p praise as well. Right, so this is our part. Right, so I'm using flex for this. Right, so the first thing is to have this is wrapped in a div, then this has to be wrapped in another div entirely. So that one is this. Okay, alright, so this is that. So let me do something here. Let me just collapse it. Alright, so this is the start info represents this side, right? And then the other one is going to be for this image. So I'm going to do, so that this is going to be flex. So here we just come to do like this, starts image, something like this, and then we are going to have image. We need to bring up the image right now. Okay, so I'm going to, let's go online and download the image. Okay. Right. So this is the image. I'm going to copy the image. So I'm just going to bring it here. Right. So we have the image right there. So it's going to be alright. So what do we have? Okay, I've not opened this. So let's use our this, open with live server. So here is what we have. All we want to build is this. This is what we are working on. This is what we have, and then this is what we currently have. So how do we change this? So we're going to start with the CSS file now. Let's go to the CSS file. The first thing is to target everything like this. Margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box. Alright, and so we need the body. We need a color for the body. This color. So we're going to do body is going to be background. What is background origin? It's going to be #0a OC 1p. Alright, and then we have the color to be white, and this. Oh, this is wrong. Alright, so this is what we have, and then we need the stats. So we are setting the stats. So for the flex, okay, so this is stats. We need to set it to flex. Alright, so I'm going to set this to flex. Let's justify center. Center, justify content centered. Height is going to be this, and then the width is going to be 80%. Margin 0 auto. So let's check what we have. Alright, so what I've done here is to the start is flex, justify content, align content, exactly these two. It helps to make sure that whatever you have is perfectly in the center, and then the height as well, and then the width. So the width is 80, that's what is, this is like 80 is like 10 and 10, right? So that's that. Then auto is what helps to perfectly bring it to the center as well. So it's important to use this as well. Alright, so don't forget that we're working on the stats here. This stats. So we have another div now, right? So we have another div that we're going to still work on. Alright, so we have dot stats, and then we have another div. We're going to be flex. So this one is like this. 3 pixel solid red. So this is what we have, right? So then we make it flex. Flex. Exactly. Then we can work on the contents now. So what we're going to do is to so we work on the stats info. So my focus is here now. Working on this now, the stats info, right? So the stats info is this part. Stats info. Stats info is this part. So we're going to make the width 100%. So the width is going to be, we're going to have padding around. There's a padding around here. See, there's a padding, there's a lot of padding around. Okay. This is going to be 4M. That's 4 times 16 to get the pixel. Background color. Background color is going to be this one. C1938. Right, and then we have border top left radius is going to be 8 pixel, border bottom left radius is going to be what, 8 pixel. So these are the border here, the small curvy line here. That is what we are talking about, the curvy line here. So then we can now focus on this now. Alright, so let's focus on this. I'll focus on this now. So we're going to have stats H1. We can check, we can see that when you expand here, we have, you can pick this H1 now. So we can do dot stats info H1 font size 2.4, right, margin bottom is 1, that's a 16 pixel, right. So the next one should be the span. Here is a span, in case you're wondering. So this is a span, has to be a different color. The span is color is 9 E 5 U C3, and then we're going to have B1 is going to be padding, top to be what, that's 5M, that's 0.5, and the width 80%. Okay, so this is what we are talking about. This has to be 80%, right? We didn't get here, it's 80%. So this is what we are talking about, right? 80%, the business tab grows, and then the line height is 1.5, the font size 17 pixel, and then the color 176 e equal. So this is what we have, right? So this has to be a div, right? So we have the start figure. This is the start figure right here now. This line 16. So we have dot start figure like this. The width is 80%. Padding top is still red. The space is flex, because it has to be flex to have it side by side. Justify content is space between, then margin top is 1 rem, and then text transform has to be what? Uppercase, because these are capital letter. It has to be, this one has to be capital letter, right? So this is what we have here. So what we have here is still not good, right? What we have is still not what we want. So what are we going to do now is so we're going to pick on them one after the other, starts H1 and P. So we're going to take starts H1, 28 pixel, margin bottom is 0 pixel, and then we're going to pick P. The font size 14 pixel, and the color exactly. So this is what we have. Okay, this is what we have. Alright, so let's work on this other side. Let's work on the image side. So let's come here. For the image, this is what we have for the image. But the arrangement is very important. Okay, so you can collapse it. Okay, this has a flex. These are the children. So for the image, we're gonna put this image starts. So the width 100% as well. So we check, you see that the start info, which is 100% to make it equal. So this is going to be 100%. This is going to be 100%. So 100, 100, right? So it's not reflecting because we need to target the image. So we're going to have object fix contain. This should be defined on the image, and then I have two parts here. So let's go to the image now. So let's pick the image, img image, which is 100%. So we can see that everything is in place now. Alright, as we can see. Okay, so we need to cover up, so we can give it a height, here. Okay, alright, so let's have this height here, 450 pixel. See what we have. Alright, so this is what we have here, and then this is what we have. So another thing we can do, we still need this curved line here, put a curved line here and a curved line there. So we're going to do border, top, right, radius, 8 pixel, border, bottom, right, radius, 8 pixel. Right, so we have the curvy line, and then I think this is okay for now. So what we're going to do is to work on the responsiveness of this project. Okay, this is not good. This is not good at all. So I want to work on the responsiveness of this project. Right. Let's see. So right. Let's make sure this project is responsive. So we have the same media query. That's media query. String. This is going to be 1297. Let's start. So we are going to change the height to what? 100%. Margin top is going to be 50 pixel. Margin bottom is going to be what? 50% as well. So, right. Okay. So that's the stats here. So what else we're going to do is let's start div. So we're changing the flex direction now. So to column. So don't forget that if I put border here, this is what makes it border here. Solid red. So this is what we have. Right? Can you see now? So when we for responsiveness now, we are changing. So for responsiveness now, we are changing that. Okay, so the what is it called now? This helps us to be able to change, to define the stylings that we want at different specific pixel. So we are saying the maximum. So anything below the unit what we've defined here is going to apply. So this style applies below. Anything below 1097, then this style automatically applies. So it's going to become column. Exactly. That is what we want to do. But we want the pictures to be on the top. So we can do column reverse. And that is it. This is better now. So we're going to take this out. And then the next thing we're going to do is stats info. Okay, you can see that's going to change the border top left radius 0 pixel, border bottom left 8 pixel. Since we've changed the orientation now, bottom right 8 pixel. Alright, so we can see here and here. There's nothing here, there's nothing here yet. Okay, let's start info. We have the text aligned to the center. This is what we are talking about here, to be centered. Okay, so this should be at the center. And then I want to say text align center. Even though it's center, right? It should be 100%. Because the width, we change it. The width is not 100% here. You can see the width is 80 here, so we want to make it 100%. So this should be 100% like this. Can you see now? Better. And then the stats figure as well. So the start figure, don't want it to be like this. Okay, so the stats figure, going to change the flex direction to column. Got 1.41. So this is what we have. Then let's work on the image. So there's a small borderline here, border here. So we're going to do image border bottom right radius 0, border top left radius 0 as well. So this is what we have, and then let's make it so mobile. So this is still not. Let's see what we can do. Still need some little bit of adjustments. This is not okay at all. So we're going to target a smaller screen. It looks good on tablets, right? It looks okay on tablets, iPad Pro looks good, but for mobile phones it doesn't look okay. So going to target smaller mobile phone. So that's media screen. Okay, so let's make this one 600. So we're going to do stats info. Stats info. You can see the stats info. This is stats info. So we're going to set. So the padding is what? Start info. Is start info is 4 rem. So we're going to make it 2 rem. 2 rem, that is 32 pixel. Right? And then dot start image, the height is going to be at 100%. So this is what we have, and then the start height, the starts info h1 font size is going to be what, 26 pixels. Alright, so this is what we have as our final project. Alright, so you can see that being able to use Flexbox a lot on this project. Use Flexbox, and then we can take it back, and this is what we have. Alright, so we've used Flexbox and change directions using flex. Here we are using flex column to change the direction, and then here we are using column as well for this. Okay, so we've used flex on this project, and then inside too we are using flex. We have used flex to change the direction of this. So flex is very useful. Then use flex the direction reverse column to make sure that the image is what comes first when you're on the mobile screen as well. So the last project, but not the least, we are going to work on that we're going to work on is going to be this project. Alright, so you're going to see how we can build this. It's a picture, and then using Flexbox. Okay, so yeah, it's a good project, and then hopefully we'll see how to use flex. We're going to use flex here. We're going to use flex here. We are going to use flex here, and then we are going to use flex here. Alright, so we are going to use flex in every areas in this project, and I believe that this project is going to help us to really understand. So this is a finished project. You can see on iPad this is how it looks, on desktop this is how it is, then on mobile this is how it is, because when you're working you also have to put into consideration the different screens. Alright, so let's get right into the project. So I'm going to need some things. I'm going to call it a bright future. I'm going to need index.html style.css. So I'm going to need some assets. So let me try and get some assets. I'm just going to take the assets here. Alright. So yes, so for this I just call it bright future. Right, so what we are going to do is so let's link up with the CSS and style, and then we're going to start. Alright, so we're going to start with this part first. So let's do session, and then we're going to have a div called container that wraps the entire container like this. So yes, so reason for that is because of this. I want the entire stuff to be at the center, right? So I want to make sure that I have it at the center like this, not having this move to the end of the page. I don't want it, I just want it to be fixed at the center. like that. So I need a container, and I'm going to have a nav for this part, defining this navigation. So I'm going to, and then we do this. I'm going to work on this part, and then I'm also going to work on this part, and then we stop, and then we work on the styling. Okay, we can work on this for now, and then work on the stylings. So we're going to have the logo now for the nav. So we're going to have div dot logo. So we're going to have image. So we're going to have offset dot logo, right? We're going to open another div so that I can make this flex. So you can have another div like this, that's nav wrapper like this. We're going to have times 5 as well. So this is going to be over that's nav link times. So this one is going to be the home. This is going to be the home, the news, popular, trending, categories. So let's open a live server, and this is what we have, right? So let's work on our styling for those projects. So first thing is to do this follows now. Margin 0. Padding is 0. Box sizing is border box. The container need it to be the max width. As the maximum width should be 1003. Right, so then we need the margin for up and down. Something like this. We need padding on both left and right. 3 rams. Padding on the right. It's 3 rams as well. So this is what we have. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is so for the nav, this is a nav. We have as what? The logo and this. That is what the nav has. So come on to the class. The nav is going to have margin. That is going to be 3 rand. Display is going to be what? Flex. And then justify content is going to be what? Space between. Align items is going to be what? Centered. So don't forget that You can see this one I'm setting it to flex. This one flex. Okay, so to automatically flex this too, right? So that's what I want to have done. You can see align is to make sure that it's properly aligned. Let me comment it out. Can you see now? You can see that it's not properly aligned. So when I let it be now, you can see that it's properly aligned on the center. So I'm going to pick on individual of this now, this A tag. Alright, so let's do the A tag. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this one I'm going to make it flex. So nav wrapper, flex, and then the cap is going to be 2.2. So this is what we have. Alright, 2.2, this is what we have. So the color, A3, A3. So this is what we have. Now for the container, we need to put font family. Alright, so this is what we have. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do, so we're done with this part, so let's move to this part now. Alright, so we need to study the code to be able to understand what I've done here. Alright, so it's not difficult at all. Alright, so for the mobile, there's going to be an icon like this here. Okay, so let's just, I'm going to put something like this here now. That's menu icon. This is what we're going to have, and that covers it. The nav is done. You can collapse the nav, and then we can now focus on here. So what I'm going to do is so I'm going to undo that later. I'm going to take this. This should not be shown here. I'm going to undo it later. So yeah, that's it. So we want to focus here. So our focus is going to be this session now. Alright, so what we're going to do is to come down. We're going to do main. We have dots. So we're going to have dots. New wrapper. So we're going to have div. We're going to have image there. That's desktop image. Alright, so we are going to have desktop image and mobile image. Okay, and then Yes, we are having two images. Then so I'm working on this side now. Let me work on this side, then I'll work on this side. And then we can now focus on the styling now. Right, so we have this, we are done. So we have dot sub wrapper, div. We have h1, the bright feature. Okay, so what I'm doing here is to make this one flex as well. So that's why I'm wrapping it in a separate div. Then we have another div. It doesn't have to be in a div there. Okay, so it's optional. Dot sub wrapper info. We have a p tag like this, and then we have another div, the anchor tag, read more. This is what we have. Alright, so that is that. So the parts we want to work on now is going to be this part as well. So what we're going to do is there's a div that wrap all this, and there's another div that wrap this. Alright, so what we're going to do is this one is for the wrapper, so we can collapse it and then come here and do dot new, right? So we're working on this part. This is our focus now, right? So we have h1, dot new title, which is new. We're going to have another div, new container, div dot new wrapper dot new wrapper first. Right? So we are defining two classes here. Okay, and the reason is because of this. So I'm working on this place now. That is where I am now. So we're going to have H2 hydrogen car. Okay, and the new one is going to be dot new wrapper dot new wrapper second. So and that's all. And then we have the third one, div dot new wrapper okay. Alright, so we are done with everything here now. So let's style it. Okay, let's do the styling now. So let's go to our CSS. Go for our CSS, and then so for the menu icon, this icon, we don't need it here, so we are going to hide it. So what we are going to do is dot main icon display is what? No. That's what we are going to do. Main. So don't forget that the main we are talking about here now. So the main is this. Can you see that? So this is the main. So it has two divs. This is the first one, and this is the second one. Main wrapper and wrapper. So we are setting it to display to be what? Flex. See now. Nothing is shown because of the image. Alright, so we're going to undo that. Let's see cap. Come back to 108. Alright, so that is that. So let me add the mobile image. Mobile image. Let's take it away. Display is going to be null. So we are not seeing the image again. Like you can see now that it's showing now because it's then we're going to do main wrapper. So where's the main wrapper? So this is the main wrapper. This is it now. So we are focusing on this now. So we are focusing on these aspects now only on this place now. So that's the main wrapper. So the main wrapper now, I'm saying the main wrapper should take a bit of 75. Take a bit of 75. Alright, so that image has to be 100. Right? So the image has to be 100. Dot main wrapper image equals to width 100%, height 100%. So it's ng main wrapper image. This is it. Main wrapper. This is it. What we are talking about here. Can you see now? Okay. So that is that. Okay. So let's focus on this part now. We're going to focus on this part down here. Focus on this part here now. So how do we do this part now? Alright, so the part is, so this is the part now, here. So this one is going to be a div too. Sub wrapper is going to be a div. Alright. It's going to be a flex. Sorry. And the margin top is going to be too low. Alright, so this is exactly what we've done. Alright. So I'm going to do dot sub wrapper. So the width alright, so this one is targeting the 2. So that's what is responsible for making it. So individual of them is, this one is 100, this one is 100. So it automatically divides it. Okay? So we see that this sub wrapper now, this sub wrapper, this sub wrapper, this one applies to all of them. You can see sub wrapper, Where is it? So you can see I call it subwrapper div. Is it subwrapper div here? Applies to this one, applies to this one. Alright, so that is it. Okay, so let's do subwrapper h1, which is 90%. Line height is what? 1.5. Font size 3.5 there. $900. That's 0.5 there. So that's like 8 pixels. 8 pixels. So this is what we have. Alright, so let's come over to this side. Okay. So something is not subwrapper. So let's check. Subwrapper. Oh, subwrapper h1. This is what we need. Then we now focus on this guy now here. This is okay. So this is it. Subwrapper div. This is what we are targeting now. Okay. So the width should be 90%. Line 1.5. Font size should be 17 pixels. The color should be this. So this is what we are working on, this part. Okay, still not looking good. Still not looking good. Alright. So let's do that. So upper info and div. Here. Okay, so let's push this. It should not be like this. Do something like this. So spread out. Okay, so let's continue. We know why it's like this. Then, so I'm working on this now. This is going to be subwrapper info. Like this. This decoration more. Background color. E F5 E 5 4. Test transfer. Test transfer. Uppercase. Font width is bold. Padding left. Rem. Padding right. Rem. Padding top. Rem. Padding bottom. Rem. Local spacing. Temperature. Font size. 14 pixels. So here we go. We have it like this. So we are done with this part, right? So our focus is going to be on this part now. Okay, so how do we work on this part? Alright, so if we go back to this space, let me collapse this. That's where we have the new. Can we see now we have the new? And then let's get started with the new. Okay. Okay, for the new we have the new. So the width is going to be 30%. 1.5 rem. 1.5 rem. So that's going to be how it's going to be. Plus new. Your script title. Font size is going to be 2.5 rem. Color is going to be 5.2. So this is it here, right? This is it now we've done. So I'm going to now target. You can see this was new title, then work on the new container now. Dot new container. So we have the height to be 100 pixel, display to be flex direction to be color, classify content, space between, space between, padding top, 1 rem, padding bottom, 3 pixel. So that's, we have padding top, padding bottom. Alright, so we should have the color. Let's put the color there. Then we have the color to be white. Nice. So we can now jump on the, yeah, it has been a suggestion. So then minor height 2.5, font size font size 15 pixel, and then color A. Alright, so this is what we have, and then there are lines that we need to make. So I guess that's why I defined this one and this one, right? So we're going to do that's new wrapper first, come on here, wrapper second. So we're going to have border bottom, make it a solid H3, bottom 2, yeah. Alright, so that's it. Okay, so we are done with it. Alright, so what we want to do now is to work on this part. Okay, so let's pick up the HTML. Let's come to the HTML. So we're done with, so I can collapse the site. So then I just call it another section. We're going to be .cat. Let's have cats. Then inside the cats, so we're going to have .cat. Then we are going to have inside the .cat, we're going to have the image. Call it cat image. And we're going to have actually something like this. Then we're going to have cat info like this. H1, H2, H3. Okay, we are done. We're going to have a repetition of this, so I'm just going to copy this and duplicate. Right? So when we change this, this one is going to be laptop. So these two. So page 2, we're going to have the laptop is going to have, then we are going to have P, then I think we are done. So let's copy this. So copy it again. So last one is going to be image gaming codes. And then so that's it. Okay, so that's it. So we're going to focus on the styling now. That's what we have. So let's focus on the styling. So we're going to start from the cards. Okay, so let's start from the cards. That's cards. It's going to be flex, right? For us to have it on the same flex. Can you see now? Have it on the same area, flex. We have a margin top to be 5M, 5M. That's card. Right? We're going to have display again to be what? Flex. Space between. Okay, so this is what we're working on. So we have cards. This is a card. So I'll pick on the image now and then the card info. So cards image. %. Going to have cards img. So this is what we are going to have, okay, to make sure that the image is okay. So the card info, we have a width of 70 for the card info, right? Then card info H1 font size is 2M. These two, the font size is 1M, padding top 4.7M, padding bottom 4.6M, font width border. Okay, so I'm working on this. Alright, so that is how come this is smaller. Okay, I think there's a mistake somewhere. Let's keep on. Let's continue. That's that. Card info fish 990s 1.5. It is 75. Font size 14 pixel. Color is this. Alright, so something we need to do. Okay, so let's trace this image, card image. So card image is 30. Okay, so we look at this later. So this is it, and then we want to make sure that it's responsive. So how do we make sure that this is responsive? Alright, that's what we want to work on now, to make sure that this is responsive. Alright, so I want to bring this pass down. And what we have here, let's make sure that we want to have here, we want to have something like this here. Okay, so what we are going to do is to work on the responsiveness at media screen, and then maximum, yes, is going to be 1240. We have the sub wrapper, which one is going to be the width is 100%. Okay, so main, we're going to change the flex direction to color. Alright, exactly. So we can now spread this one out. So let's spread this bit out. Let's main, let's main wrapper, which is 100%. So spread this here, spreading that guy out. Exactly. And then dot new, which is this guy down here. We're going to spread it out as well. Dot new, in the margin 51, width of 100. So we're spreading this one out exactly. So giving a width of 100, height of 100, and padding is right. New container. So for the new container, 100% padding top. Okay, so let's get in exactly. So we are going to have border right, one piece of solid, 83, 83. Border bottom. So we're having border bottom to be none, and then padding to be this as well. So we have border bottom, none, and then this. Okay, border bottom to be this. Alright, so I think I'm missing something here. Padding here. Let's cut gap of 1. This is supposed to be in between. So what was this? What was it that we have? Okay, something is not applying, missing something else there. Okay, so we have the new container. We have dots. New The width is supposed to be 100. Padding top should be what? 2. The new container is this. This is a new container. It should be 100%. New wrapper. Yes, this is the new wrapper. It should be 100%. Missing something. So something should be flex. Okay. Oh. New container should be. So we now have new container, column, row, and the gap is 2 row. Exactly. So everything is, so we have it working now. Alright, so this is it. This is what we're working on. Alright. So for the mobile, it's not yet okay for the mobile. So we need to target the mobile session now. About the tablet, iPad Pro, I think it's okay. So let's target the mobile now. Okay. So let's do a little bit of targeting. Media screen, media screen, and let's make this one 800. That's new. Until now, see how the first direction to the column. I'm having repetition. Okay, I've changed it. Let's go 800. Yeah, 800. Okay. Border button. So reload it. So what we're going to do now is padding. Choose the one here. Alright. So what next is going to be for the cart section. Next direction is column. The gap is going to be 2 there. And let's cart. We're going to align items to the center. Then we have dot sub, wrapper, we have flex, direction to the column, dot sub, wrapper h1, we have the width to be what? 80%. Right, so this is what we have, and then still little things to do. We need to remove this nav bar and then make sure that all these spaces is cleared up. So let's target one more at media screen mass 600. Container padding left 1, padding right 1. So we are going to use our desktop image now. Desktop image. Okay. This does not make sense. So let's use our desktop image, but display block. Okay, desktop image is going to be none. We're going to use our mobile image now. Mobile image now. Display is going to be block. Okay, so better now. Then the next thing we're going to do is nav wrapper. Display is going to be nav. Okay, all those tests should go. Then we bring back menu icon now. Display will be what? Below. Sub wrapper icon now. So the width of this should be 100 now. So the font size should be thin. Okay. Dot sub wrapper. Yeah. The width should be 100 too. Then the font size should be 18 pixels as well. Okay, this is okay now. This is okay now. So new first dot new dot second. So let's padding button to so that it starts. Alright, so wow. And there's still something there. Let me wrapper H2, font size 20 pixel, new wrapper P, margin top 7 9 heights 1.5, font size 16 pixel. Let's cut image 40%. Let's cut info. So we're working on the last part now. 80%. So here we are here now. Let's cut info H1, font size 2.5 RAM. Like I said, 1 RAM is 16 pixel. Let's cut info H2, font size 1.2 RAM. I'll just do the calculation. Then let's cut info P. It is 100%. Font size is 16 pixel. Right, so this is something has changed. Yes, we've missed some things. Let's go to HTML. Okay. So we have card info. Okay, so let's do. Yeah, it is. Okay, this is 50%. Something is wrong with this image. What I have is looks moderate. I need to adjust the image. Card info is 80. Image is 40%. Zero font width 20%. Please. Font size 100. Alright. So I'm going to be stopping here for now. So let's see. Okay. I think it's cool now. Alright, so I think we are okay now. Okay, just the lines that are supposed to be here. Border button, border button. Border button. Oh, this is not applying at all. Okay, border button. That means the first is back. Why am I working? Oh, X. X here. Border button. So here. So we have the project completed now, and yeah, so we're able to achieve this using Flex. Everything we've done here is Flex, just Flex and nothing else. Right, so this is desktop view. We have the desktop view, and then we have the desktop view, the mobile view, the tablet view, the mobile view, and all of that. So, and it's responsive. Alright, so I'm going to, yeah, use the code on GitHub. So, alright. So, in the next class, we're going to look at read.